Hey guys, welcome to another 6 Stages Gaming video. Today we're going to be doing the unboxing and card discussion for the Final Fantasy IX starter. This is hopefully going to be a little bit of a celebration unboxing, as rumor has it we're going to be getting these this week or by Friday. Of course, I'll believe it when I see it, but I've had a couple stores already confirm that we will be getting these in stock. So, just a really quick unboxing and going over the cards. So, as usual, come with a rules insert and a little mat that you can go over. I'm sure if you're watching this video, you're already familiar with all that wonderful stuff. So we are just going to break into the starter deck itself. And I'm sure I'm going to... Oh, hey, that actually worked this time. Usually terrible at unboxing these. And it looks like I just nicked a card. Ooh, well. So we're going to be starting off with Zidane. And there is a lot of discussion going around this card, mainly because it is a light card. However, I am actually a really big fan of it, maybe because I'm biased towards Final Fantasy IX, but I think it will be a good card once Opus 3 rolls around and we get more of the Final Fantasy IX support, because this is mostly going to be used as a 2-drop 7K with just a series of modes that can all have a benefit. I mean, if it's drawing a card, your opponent discards a card, or activating all your Category 9 characters. Again, that means forwards and backups, so if we're playing a water-heavy deck, that is going to activate a good number of backups, if not just play this for free. So this card does play into the card advantage role that Final Fantasy IX wants to be involved with, but of course it is a light card, so that isn't going to be all that great for us. If you draw multiple of them, you're just going to have it stuck in your hand. So we do get the 3 of those off the start. Then our other starter, we have Vivi. 2-drop 2000 might not be that impressive. You can put him in the break zone, deal something 5000, which if you combine it with the Red Emperor, Emperor Zidane, or if you have other ping effects or even Fusoya, there are a few different ways that Red is known for getting this incremental damage. What's also good to note is that if you pay 2 red, you can put him in the break zone and deal 8000 damage to one of your opponent's forwards. So ideally what this card is most often going to be best used for is being able to block one of your opponent's forwards and then, well, suicide himself really to put him into the break zone and deal 8000 damage, effectively preventing you from taking 2 points of damage for that turn. So I think Vivi will be good in that regard. However, I think the legendary version is overall better in what most red decks will want, but we will cover that a little bit later. Then we have Amarant, which, keeping in mind this card, just like Lulu, it says put 1 forward. Yes, it must be your own forward. You cannot put your opponent's forward into the break zone. He basically is used for the fling effect. Interesting note with Zidane, if you draw multiples, you can use Zidane as a card filter, fling at your opponent for 7000, and then play another one. So they do combo together like that in a way. What most people are ultimately going to be using this for is some people want to live the dream and use it with, again, Red Emperor, Emperor Zidane, because you can attack for 9000, ping something for 5000 damage off its effect, fling this at something for 9000, and you're also going to get the 9000 for the on-break effect for the legend. So there is just a world of card advantage that you can now get out of Fire. The thing to note here is many people often think that 5-drop legendary Tifa also goes in that deck, and not only are they going to be fighting for spots, but you have to think about how many times both Tifa and Emperor were in the field at the same time together. Often it wasn't as much as you would like, and that was with a tutor in the deck. So unless you're playing Fire Water, this could be very difficult to resolve. That said, I think it's a very interesting card to watch to see where it goes and how many we will get in on-break effects in the future. Last note about that card is that it does play very nicely with Dark Emperor. If you can throw a 9k at somebody, attack with 9k, throw a 9k at somebody, and then get another card out of it. That's another combo I haven't seen a lot of people talking about, so I figured it was at least worth mentioning. So Black Waltz and EX Burst. The thing to note here is that was all the starter cards up front. The rest of them are included in Opus 3, so don't feel obligated. We're going to cover some more starter exclusives in a bit, but don't feel obligated to get 2, 3, what have you decks, because there will be more of these coming out in Opus 3. Black Waltz enters the field, choose 1 forward opponent controls, deal at 3000 damage and 1000 more damage for each card in your opponent's hand. So this is going to be an interesting card that early game, it's probably fine. You know, obviously being able to do 7, 8,000, it's mostly going to come down in probably the 6 to 7,000 damage range, which isn't terrible, but it is an EX burst. So often where this is really going to shine is on EX burst, because your opponent is often, unless they have some kind of a very impactful effect, they're going to draw up. They're probably going to have 5 cards in their hand. They're going to attack before playing anything out of their hand. And then this is going to be able to come down for that 8,000 damage, which is, of course, kind of the key number that you want to be using. So Black Waltz is already fighting over some very competitive backups in Fire decks, so I don't think it's going to be all that playable. And again, if mostly only because we're fighting for so many backup slots. So this would be one of the things I recommend changing in the deck when you do get them. Ranger, choose a forward, cost 3 or less, deal 3,000 or 2,000 damage rather. And of course, this is from Opus 1, pretty much unplayable. No one really likes it, so not much needs to be said about that. Couple of evokers, just, you know, good value for when you want to have a lower curve and accelerate your backups. Obviously not something that you normally want to be dealing with. A couple of Samurai, which have Brave. Now again, of course, with either VV or some of the other ping effects, there might be a use to being able to use this as an attacker, being able to threaten some kind of damage buff or maybe a Belias or what have you. And then it also has a use on defense. So again, I don't expect this to be making the final cut for the deck, but it's certainly a good addition in these starter decks. 2 Ifrits. This is perfectly fine. This is a very playable red card that we've seen both from the Mono Fire list, and it's made an appearance in a few other lists, at least for other field top 8s. So a good thing to pick up. Chances are, again though, if you had Opus 2 already, you probably have 2 of these cards, if not approximately 10,000 more. 2 Sage, being able to give something haste can be beneficial. The cute interaction here, if you will, would be, of course, with Big Red himself, to be able to fling something in the same turn. Of course, understanding that this is going to take a lot of crystal points to make this work, but might be able to surprise your opponent and catch them off guard. Again, sometimes you just get to live the dream. Otherwise, I wouldn't bet on it too much. 2 Warrior, 2-drop 5k, has the ability to pump itself by 1,000. Is what it is. Ninja. It's an interesting card that has popped up in some lists only because it does have first strike, and it has the ability to, if you attack with them together, to deal pinged damage, so they can abuse first strike together. Ultimately, otherwise a little bit lacking. Excuse me, some of these are sticking together. And then 2 Summoner. Put Summoner in the Breakstone of 4, receive damage this turn, increase it by 1,000. It's certainly an interesting card, can pair well with Zidane when you need to just get that 7,000 to 8,000. So I would look forward to seeing this card perhaps picking up a little bit of playability if more people want to utilize the maxing out on 3 light Zidanes, but we will see how that goes. Then we have the 3 Garnet, which I am not at all in love with this card, understanding that the Legendary one is just strictly better, and it's nice that it's in the starter, and maybe we'll get some 2-drop water summons in the future. Ultimately, a little bit not that exciting. Now, again, the argument could be made that it is functionally a 1-drop 5,000 because you get to play that 2-cost summon for free. But realistically, right now, you're looking at Fairy being probably your best target. You do have Moogle or Leviathan, the 1-drop, but Fairy is probably the most you're going to be getting out of it, and she doesn't get a bonus off of that. Kiona, I believe is how you pronounce it. I always just refer to it as Chef when I played the games, which is very flattering when you considering that the special is even called Eat, which I just found hilarious. But for each card in your hand, it gets plus 1,000 power. So again, this is in water. It's an element that wants to be drawing a bunch of cards, have a bunch of EX first, like Fairy and the Impure, to draw more cards. So this is insane for a common, realistically. I can honestly see this being a very powerful common in the right deck. As you saw our mono water standard unit list, that deck really likes to churn through and get to draw a lot of cards. So I do see this finding a home in certain decks. And then of course Eat. Choose 1 forward opponent controls which has been dealt damage this turn if that forward has a special ability or an action ability. So again, anything that's written as cost and effect, break it. So it is a little situational. Both on the condition and the effects of it, but a card that could be very, very powerful in the right matchups. Then we have 3 Steiner. EX Burst, and I was really underwhelmed by this card at first. It's a 5-drop, 6K, potentially has the ability to be a 7,000. And then I realized that it can tutor for any character for Final Fantasy IX, which is going to be extremely important as we get into our backups here in a moment. So if you're playing a Final Fantasy IX deck, you are absolutely playing 3 of him. Getting into some of the Moogle packages now, Filter Moogle, which leaves a little bit to be desired. If you're playing a very heavy light and dark deck, probably you're going to be including this one, but you get to take any number of cards from your hand, put them on the bottom of your deck, and then draw that many. So outside of having a very bad hand, and maybe you mulligan into something better, ultimately I just don't see the card being played. Now the 2 cards that I am very excited about, which only comes as a 2 of, which makes me very sad, but I'm going to wait till Opus 3. I'm not going to buy another starter, is Eco and Mog, which we'll talk about in a moment. This is a tutor, very standard 3-cost tutor, enters the field, choose 1 category 9 forward and add it to your hand. Pretty standard, pretty basic. Nothing that exciting there, but we get into Mog 9. And this card I am absolutely excited about, like through the roof excited. And again, probably because Eco can search Steiner, which can then search Mog, because again, Steiner can search any 9 category. So you can get this card, and not only does it let you draw a card, so it's a 1-drop backup effectively, but it has Leviathan on a backup. So not only can you run 3 of these because it breaks itself, but then it also draws a card and replaces itself. So I am very, very excited to just run the 9 Leviathan, or I should say 9 bounce effects, being it the Mog, Leviathan, and Heroic Una all in the same deck. So very much looking forward to that. And then just rounding it out with kind of the basic stuff that we've already seen. 2 Evoker, nothing special. Of course, the deck needed to have a Garnet target, so we have 2 Fairy. We have a couple of Moogles, and then lastly, we have a couple of Knights, which it's a bummer that it's a standard unit, but there's nothing to buff it, so it's just a 3-drop 7K, which certainly leaves you a little bit to desire. So ultimately, I am very, very excited for this starter deck and really just what it represents in terms of knowing that we're going to be getting more support with it in the Opus 3, and I think that there's going to be a series of cards in here that will be extremely playable. Again, Eco and Mog absolutely automatically going in the water package. Zidane, if you can get a deck around him, is certainly worth playing. And then we have a series of very powerful commons, and of course the tutor as well, which is, of course, Steiner as well, being absolutely insane in terms of making it all work together. So that's all we have for this video. I want to do a very quick unboxing and what we think is going to be playable and what types of decks it goes in. I hope you guys are looking forward to these starter decks. Again, ask your local game shops about them. Hopefully we're going to be seeing them this week, and I cannot wait to see what types of deck people are brewing with them. So if you like the video, make sure to drop us a like, comment down below, let us know what your favorite Final Fantasy IX card is out of the starter. Let's get some discussion going around that. And until next time, we'll catch you on the next 6 Sages Gaming video. Have a good one.
This video made possible by the patron support of viewers such as yourself. Thank you to our honorary sages.